It is no secret that conventional construction contributes significantly to greenhouse gas emissions. With the world at a climate tipping point, there has never been a more pressing need to decarbonize the industry.
We need to continue to invest in building out the built environment, but how do we do so in a way that is both economically and environmentally sustainable?
Perhaps one way is to look at how modern buildings can achieve a lower carbon footprint through design.
Producing energy to me has been the easier part, right? Because that's a technological solution. But I think what was more critical was designing and building towards reducing energy consumption.
It's time to build the cities of today with tomorrow in mind.
I think sustainable design is a methodology of designing a building or a development that does not impact or has a positive impact on the environment.
The National University of Singapore's School of Design and Environment 4, or SDE 4, exemplifies this idea of sustainable design. Built in 2019 and designed by Sorbana Jurong in collaboration with Siri and Multiply Consultants, the NetZero Energy Building is the fourth building under the School of Design and Environment. Alakesh, who was part of the team of architects then, now finds himself a user of the space that he helped design.
I mean, it was part of the school's brief that it needs to be a medium of teaching. So you'll see a lot of the things in this building are visible. The materiality of the building, the way the services work, or the way the rain is collected, energy is collected, everything is made visible to the students. So it helps in the pedagogical narrative of the building.
With Singapore's tropical climate and high humidity year-round, a climate-responsive approach was needed for SDE4 to be energy efficient.
The air conditioning temperature is much higher than the typical office building in Singapore, and that there are fans in the space that they are working in, day out.
So instead of being a glass box, this building is divided into a series of boxes sitting within a big volume. So it's really punctuated to improve cross-ventilation, right?
SDE4 proves that indoor occupant thermal comfort does not have to come at the expense of the environment. In fact, the building even produces more energy than it consumes due to its design features, which saw SDE4 achieving net positive status in 2021.
All these things collectively work together to give a better experience to the occupants without creating a negative impact to the environment. To me, that is a green building.
These are things that we try to inculcate into the DNA of the students so that when they go out, it's already in their mindset when they go and do work and etc.
SDE4 embeds sustainable design into the mindset of architects and designers of tomorrow. But how else can we think about reducing emissions in construction?
Now, carbon is in two parts. One is operational carbon. That is the amount of carbon that is released based on the energy that you need to do everything in your day-to-day life. But the second part of carbon is the embodied carbon. That is the amount of emissions that goes into all the process in building something.
It's a lot easier to create a green building when it's still on paper. What we're seeing less of in industry is really the hard-to-tackle parts of the embodied carbon, which is the materials. You know, it's really the carbon that is part of the production of cement and steel. And these materials are ubiquitous. We need them in all of our construction, but actually they're sort of the highest carbon-emitting industries in the world. So they really pose a significant opportunity in terms of decarbonizing because of the size of their carbon emissions.
But what if there is a way to decarbonize the world's most used material?
Forterra is, a materials technology company that is focused on paving a way to zero CO2 cement. We have taken our cues from nature and have developed a new cement chemistry that actually incorporates CO2 into the cement. The benefits of our solution really comes down to the fact that we're working within the existing cement ecosystem.
Forterra is an investment that the strategic development team has made a couple of years ago. It's really looking to solve this problem of how do you decarbonize the concrete industry. And if you want people to use your solution, it has to be easy. It has to be, well, no different to what they're doing today in terms of how they're mixing the concrete and how they're building buildings. And it has to be, again, as cost competitive with the incumbent technology, with the existing cement.
In traditional cement, limestone is 80% of the feedstock to the kiln. And the challenge with that is when you put that into the kiln and you heat it up, you lose 44% of its weight to CO2 emissions. If you look at nature, look at how coral reefs form, the exact opposite happens. You actually absorb CO2 and make a reactive form of limestone that actually has cementing properties. And so what we figured out as a company was how to take what nature does, but do it in an industrial process where we can make these reactive limestone or these reactive carbonates that can be used both as a replacement to cement or as a standalone cement.
There is no silver bullet to tackle our climate crisis, but companies like Forterra mean that there is hope. Hope that we can be the generation to make that change.
I'm an eternal optimist. When you're in the ecosystem and you see the number of investors willing to support these new incredible ideas, when you see the number of people that want to join companies with a mission to solve climate change and environmental problems, to me that's motivating. And I'm also a father of 3 kids, and putting the world into a better place than where we left it is a goal I think we should all aspire to.
We have a limited period of time really to address climate change. And so we really need to think about not only the solutions that are available, but how fast can we introduce these solutions into the markets and scale them up so that they actually move the needle on reducing carbon emissions. We're the generation with all the information. We know so much more about the climate problem and how it's going to affect us. So we have today, more than ever before, a suite of tools, the collaboration globally that really allows us as humanity to really tackle such challenges.